Year in review, the greatBritish permacrisis. There was an ominous momentum to British politics in 2022. This truly epic period in British politics saw 2 conservative leadership contests, 2 monarchs, 3 prime ministers, 4 chancellors, 6 fiscal events, and it all culminated in considerable market turmoil. Factor in the ongoing complexities over Brexit, the debilitating legacy of COVID lockdowns, a surge of small boats crossing the Channel, Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine, and a global cost of everything crisis, and you get a year of sobering, crippling uncertainty. The unrelenting pace of British politics created a sense of permanent crisis, or permacrisis, as Collins Dictionary's word of the year would have it. In some senses, a 2022 year in review is an impossible task. The cascading pace of politics over the past 365 days makes any attempt to weave a neat narrative through events difficult indeed. There is also the unavoidable fact that Britain's incessant turmoil developed alongside an increasingly intricate international picture. How do you make sense of Britain's domestic doom loop against the background of deep geopolitical fragility, redefined by the Ukraine war? In the end, it is the causally separate but savagely simultaneous nature of Britain's political problems that gives meaning to Britain's permacrisis. The feeling of lurching from one distinct crisis to the next is all too familiar, as is the sense of dread developed in wondering how events will unravel next. This brings us to the final problem of a 2022 year in review. For Britain's permacrisis is far from over. Unprecedented industrial action grips Britain in a way the country has not experienced since the 70s, and with both the unions and the government digging in, there is little sign of this crisis subsiding. In short, 2022 was a year where the only certainty was chaos. We begin with Boris Johnson's 3Ps. The tone of 2022's political drama was arguably set in January by the drip of stories around rule-breaking gatherings in Downing Street. After a string of denials through the latter parts of 2021, Boris Johnson offered his heartfelt apologies to the House of Commons chamber on the 12th. It came after reports emerged that the Prime Minister had attended a drinks reception on the 20th of May 2020. An initial report, from everyone's favorite secret Whitehall Mandarin Sue Gray followed, with the full publication delayed until after the Metropolitan Police concluded its own investigation. The force eventually issued 126 fixed penalty notices to 83 people, including the Prime Minister, his wife Carrie and the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak.